story of Halloween is over 2,000 years old? It's not just about candy and costumes.
The roots of this spooky holiday go way back to an ancient Celtic festival called
That's spelled Samhain and pronounced sow-in? Around 2,000 years ago. In what we now know as Ireland in the UK, the Celts celebrated Samhain on October 31st. This day marked the end of the harvest and the beginning of the dark, cold winter.
It was a time of year often associated with death, and the Celts believed that on this night, the boundary between the worlds of the living and the dead became blurred. They thought the ghosts of the dead returned to Earth.
To celebrate, they would build huge bonfires. These weren't for a party.
They were to ward off evil spirits. People would also wear costumes, usually made of animal heads and skins, to disguise themselves from any wandering ghosts. They believed if they looked like a fellow spirit, they'd be left alone. Food and drink were also left out as offerings for friendly ancestral spirits who might visit.
It was a night of respect, caution, and superstition. So how did this ancient pagan festival become the Halloween we know and love? Well, enter the influence of Christianity.
As Christianity spread through Celtic lands, it began to merge with older traditions.
In the 8th century,
Pope Gregory III moved the date of All Saints' Day to November 1st. This day, also known as All Hallows' Day, was created to honor all saints and martyrs.
Naturally, the night before All Hallows' Day became known as All Hallows' Eve. Over time,
that name was shortened to what we now call Halloween. Later, November 2nd was established as All Souls' Day, a day to pray for the souls of the departed.
Many of the Samhain traditions, like lighting fires, now candles, and honoring the dead,
were smoothly adapted into these new Christian observances. It was a clever way to blend the old with the new.
This fusion of traditions continued to evolve.
During the Middle Ages, new customs popped up that looked surprisingly familiar. One of these was souling. Poor people, and later children, would go door to door on All Hallows' Eve, offering to pray for the souls of a household's dead relatives. In exchange, they'd receive food, specifically little soul cakes. Sound familiar? This is widely seen as the direct ancestor of our modern trick.
Meanwhile, over in Ireland and Scotland, another iconic tradition was taking shape.
People started carving scary faces into vegetables like turnips and beets. They would place a candle or a burning coal inside to make them glow. These weren't just for decoration. They were believed to be lanterns to frighten away evil spirits. The most famous spirit they were trying to ward off was a character from Irish folklore known as Stingy Jack. The legend of Stingy Jack is a classic cautionary tale.
Jack was a clever but miserly man who tricked the devil not once, but twice to avoid having his soul taken. When Jack finally died, he was turned away from heaven for his sinful life. But the devil, keeping his promise not to take his soul, also refused him entry to hell.
Instead, he gave Jack a single burning coal to light his way and doomed him to roam the earth for eternity.
Jack put the coal into a carved-out turnip and has been wandering ever since,
becoming known as Jack of the Lantern, or as we say today, Jack-o'-lantern. So, for centuries, these traditions were mostly confined to Ireland and Scotland. But in the mid-19th century, that all changed. A massive wave of Irish and Scottish immigrants came to America, especially during the Great Potato Famine, and they brought their cherished Halloween customs with them. Once in America, these traditions began to transform. Immigrants discovered the pumpkin, a large, hollow fruit native to North America.
It was much easier to carve than a turnip or a beet, and so the pumpkin quickly became the new face of the jack-o'-lantern. creating the iconic symbol we know today.
By the late 1800s,
Halloween in America was starting to shift from a night of superstition to a more community-focused holiday.
instead of just warding off ghosts, people started throwing Halloween parties. They played games, held parades, and focused on celebrating together.
It was becoming less about the dead and more about having fun with the living.
The 20th century is when Halloween really became the commercial blockbuster it is today.
The old practice of souling and guising.
Wearing costumes evolved into the trick or treating we know and love. It became super popular in the United States between the 1930s and 1950s as a fun, safe activity for kids. Costumes also got a major upgrade.
While classic ghosts, witches, and goblins remained popular, the costume world exploded to include everything from superheroes and movie characters to funny memes and pop culture icons.
Halloween became a chance to express your creativity and become anyone or anything for a night. And what about the candy? Well, by the mid-20th century, candy companies realized Halloween was a huge marketing opportunity.
They began producing and advertising Halloween-specific treats, and soon, giving out prepackaged candy became the norm.
It was seen as safer and more convenient than homemade treats, and it cemented candy as the ultimate Halloween prize. Even haunted houses have their roots in this modern era. As communities looked for safe and organized ways to provide scares, the idea of a commercial haunted house attraction took off, providing thrilling entertainment for those who love a good fright. So when you see a jack-o'-lantern, you're not just looking at a carved pumpkin.
You re-seeing a link to the Irish legend of Stingy Jack and the ancient practice of warding off spirits.
When you see ghosts and ghouls, you're tapping into the 2,000-year-old Celtic belief that the veil between worlds is thin on Halloween night. Even the classic colors, orange and black, have meaning. Orange represents the harvest in autumn leaves, while black symbolizes the darkness and death of winter. What's really cool is that while this version of Halloween is famous, cultures all around the world have their own unique ways of honoring the dead. In Mexico, Dia de los Muertos, or the Day of the Dead, is a vibrant, joyous celebration on November 1st and 2nd.
Families build beautiful altars.
Or ofrendas with photos, favorite foods, and flowers to welcome the spirits of their loved ones back home. Back in Ireland, the birthplace of Halloween.
They still light bonfires and eat a special fruit cake called barmbrack, which has symbolic charms baked inside.
And in the Philippines, there's a tradition called pang where children go do-do-do, singing in exchange for treats, representing the soul stuck in purgatory. From an ancient Celtic festival to a global phenomenon, the history of Halloween is a beautiful tapestry of folklore, religion, and evolving human culture. It's a night when we can confront our fears, remember those who came before us, and, of course, eat way too much candy. So tease year when you're putting on your costume or carving your pumpkin, remember the incredible journey this holiday has taken. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this journey through history, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more stories behind our favorite traditions. Happy Halloween!